My beloved child, listen carefully, because this message did not arrive by chance. There has been a quiet movement around your name, something spoken in whispers and decided behind closed doors. You felt the shift without knowing why: sudden distance, strange silence, an unexplainable heaviness in your chest. I am here to tell you that what confused you was not imagination. A thread leads closer than you expected, and it passes through someone you trust deeply. Now hear this with calm strength. A bond of blood does not always mean clarity of intention. Your sister stands at the edge of a hidden agreement, one that carries your name without your permission. This was not done out of cruelty, but out of fear, pressure, and choices made in secrecy. Something valuable tied to your future was discussed as if it were already decided, and one crucial piece connected to this agreement has quietly gone missing. Pay attention to this moment, because the truth is beginning to surface layer by layer. The missing element is not an object alone, it represents an opportunity, a document, a promise, or a path that was meant to reach you directly. Instead, it was paused, redirected, and concealed. This is why doors felt delayed and answers never came fully. What was hidden is now stirring, and the silence around it cannot hold much longer. Do not rush into confrontation, my child. Strength lies in awareness, not reaction. Your sister's involvement carries emotional weight, and there are feelings she has not voiced: guilt, confusion, and the fear of losing connection. The agreement she touched was never meant to harm you, but it was not meant to exclude you either. What was done in secrecy is now being pulled into the light, gently but firmly. Stay grounded as you move forward, because the next phase brings revelation, not loss. What went missing will return in a different form, clearer and more aligned with who you have become. Your name holds power, and no quiet deal can erase what is divinely protected. Watch closely, listen more than you speak, and trust that what unfolds next will finally explain everything you have been sensing but could not yet see. My beloved child, as this message continues, understand that timing is everything. What remained hidden could only surface once you were strong enough to see it without breaking. The delay was not denial, it was preparation. Conversations are happening now where your name carries weight, and the missing link is drawing attention again. You may soon notice subtle signs, unexpected calls, names resurfacing, or a sudden shift in how you are treated. There is something important you must realize here. The secret arrangement was built on assumptions about you that are no longer true. You outgrew the version of yourself they spoke about. This is why the agreement feels unstable now. The moment you changed, the foundation of that deal weakened. What was missing began to question its own absence, demanding to return to its rightful place. Guard your words in the days ahead. Not everyone involved understands the full picture, and some are only now realizing the consequences of acting without your voice. Your sister feels this deeply, even if she has not shown it. The connection between you is not broken, but it is being tested so that honesty can replace silence. This test is meant to heal, not divide. You may feel a pull to uncover everything at once, but patience will reveal more than force ever could. Truth is arranging itself in your favor. What was concealed will come to you through clarity, not conflict. When it arrives, you will recognize it instantly, because it will feel aligned, calm, and undeniable. Remain steady and observant, my child. You are protected as this unfolds. No hidden decision can override what is meant for you. The secret deal is losing its grip, the missing piece is finding its way back, and your name is about to be spoken with a different tone, one of respect, recognition, and rightful acknowledgement. My beloved child, there is more you must understand as the veil continues to lift. What you sensed as tension was actually resistance to the truth coming out too soon. Someone attempted to pause the flow of events, believing delay would change the outcome. But destiny does not forget names written with purpose. The moment you stopped chasing answers, the answers began moving toward you. Listen closely now. The missing connection was never lost, it was held back. It was placed in waiting, as if time itself was asked to stand still. This is why your progress felt uneven, forward one day, uncertain the next. The agreement tied to your name could not move forward without your awareness, and that imbalance is now forcing a correction. Your sister stands at a crossroads internally. She is realizing that silence has a cost and that truth demands courage. This realization is heavy, but necessary. The role she played is transforming from concealment to understanding. What happens next depends not on blame, but on how honesty enters the space you both share. You will soon notice a shift in energy when her name comes into your thoughts. Confusion will soften into clarity. What once felt distant will begin to make sense. This is the sign that alignment is restoring itself. When truth approaches, it does not rush, it arrives with certainty and calm. Remain centered, my child. You are not being tested to lose something, but to reclaim what was always meant to be yours. The story unfolding now is correcting itself quietly, powerfully, and in your favor. What was delayed will return refined, and when it does, you will finally understand why this had to unfold exactly this way. My beloved child, as this unfolds further, you must recognize that truth often moves in silence before it speaks aloud. The signs around you are not random. They are confirmations aligning one after another. What was once discussed without your presence is now being re-examined with your growth in mind. The balance is shifting because your energy no longer fits into old decisions made in secrecy. Understand this clearly now. The agreement connected to your name began to unravel the moment doubt entered the hearts of those involved. Questions surfaced that could not be ignored. The missing element became impossible to replace, because it carried your essence, your consent, your direction. Without it, nothing could truly move forward, and this realization has changed everything behind the scenes. There is an awakening happening within your sister. She is beginning to see that protection built on silence only creates distance. Her thoughts are heavier now, filled with reflections she cannot dismiss. This is not about fear of being exposed, but about the weight of carrying something that was never meant to be hers alone. The shift within her is quiet, but real. Soon, clarity will come to you through subtle yet undeniable moments. A truth may be revealed indirectly, through actions rather than words. Pay attention to what changes instead of what is said. When people begin to act differently around you, it is because the truth has already spoken within them. Stay steady and composed, my child. What is resolving now is doing so in divine order. The hidden arrangement is losing its influence, the missing connection is returning to alignment, and your name is reclaiming its rightful place. This chapter is closing not with chaos, but with understanding, growth, and a deeper awareness of your own power. My beloved child, as the final layers shift, you may feel a strange calm replacing the confusion that once followed you. This calm is not emptiness. It is certainty forming. What was once tangled in silence is now loosening, thread by thread. Decisions made without your voice are being revisited, and some are quietly undone. This is the stage where truth no longer hides, even if it is not yet spoken aloud. Understand this deeply now. The missing piece connected to your name was never meant to stay absent. Its disappearance forced reflection, slowed intentions, and exposed weaknesses in the agreement itself. What relied on secrecy could not survive clarity. This is why momentum suddenly feels different, lighter, as if resistance has faded without explanation. Your sister's role is changing internally more than externally. Awareness has replaced denial, and reflection has replaced justification. She is beginning to see that honesty is the only path forward, not just for you, but for herself. This realization is reshaping the connection between you, preparing it for a more truthful foundation than before. You may soon witness resolution without confrontation. Things will fall into place naturally, conversations aligning, circumstances adjusting. What once required effort will move smoothly now. This is how correction often appears, quiet, precise, undeniable. When it happens, you will feel recognition rather than surprise. Remain present and grounded, my child. What concludes now is not a loss, but a restoration. The hidden deal fades, the missing connection realigns, and your name stands clear and respected. This chapter ends with understanding, strength, and a future no longer shaped by silence, but by truth moving freely toward you. My beloved child, as everything settles into place, you will notice that what once felt heavy now feels distant, almost resolved. This is because the situation has reached a turning point where intentions can no longer hide behind uncertainty. The energy around your name has shifted from confusion to clarity, and those who once spoke in halves are now facing the full weight of what they set in motion. Understand this clearly now. The agreement tied to your name is losing relevance because it no longer reflects who you are today. Growth has changed the outcome. What was planned under old assumptions cannot stand in the present moment. The missing element served its purpose by interrupting what was never fully aligned, and in doing so, it protected you from a path that was incomplete. Within your sister, a quiet reckoning continues. She is realizing that protecting a secret can sometimes cause more harm than revealing the truth. This awareness is softening her defenses and opening space for honesty. What she once believed was necessary is now being questioned, and this internal shift is reshaping her actions moving forward. You may soon experience clarity through a moment that feels unexpectedly simple. A gesture, a statement, or a sudden change in circumstance will confirm what you have been sensing all along. When this happens, there will be no confusion left, only understanding. The truth will feel steady, not dramatic, and that is how you will know it is real. Remain calm and confident, my child. What concludes here does so with balance restored. Your name is no longer bound to hidden decisions, the missing connection has fulfilled its role, and your path stands open again. What moves forward now will do so with transparency, respect, and alignment that cannot be undone. My beloved child, the closing movement of this situation carries a quiet power you can already feel. What once demanded your attention through confusion now asks only for your presence. The weight has shifted away from you, because responsibility is returning to where it belongs. The silence that once felt uncomfortable is transforming into space for truth to stand on its own. Know this without doubt. The moment someone speaks your name without your consent, the universe listens. Corrections are set in motion even when you are unaware. The agreement connected to you could never complete itself, because it lacked alignment with your higher path. The missing element was the signal that something was unfinished, and that signal has now been fully received. Your sister is approaching an inner clarity that cannot be avoided. She is beginning to understand that transparency is not a threat, but a release. What she carries has grown too heavy to hold alone, and this awareness is guiding her toward honesty. This shift does not come from pressure, but from understanding what is right. You will soon recognize closure through emotional release rather than explanation. What troubled you will no longer demand answers. Instead, peace will take its place. This is how resolution arrives when it is guided, not forced. When you notice this calm, trust it, it is the sign that balance has been restored. Remain steady in this final phase, my child. What ends now does so with purpose fulfilled. The hidden arrangement dissolves, the missing connection completes its role, and your name stands free and clear. What comes next will be built openly, supported fully, and aligned completely with who you have become. My beloved child, as this chapter reaches its final stillness, you may sense a deep knowing settling within you. This knowing does not ask questions anymore, it simply recognizes truth. What once lingered in the background of your thoughts no longer holds power over your emotions. This is because the unseen has completed its work, and resolution is now anchored quietly in your reality. Understand this with clarity now. The situation surrounding your name was never meant to define you, only to redirect what was misaligned. The missing element served as a pause, a safeguard, ensuring that nothing incomplete could move forward. What was interrupted was not your destiny, but a version of events that no longer matched your growth. Your sister's inner transformation continues gently. Awareness has replaced confusion, and responsibility has replaced avoidance. She is learning that truth restores connection rather than breaking it. This realization is changing how she sees you, not as someone to protect from information, but as someone strong enough to face it with grace. You will notice that the need for explanation fades. What once required answers will no longer disturb your peace. This is how closure reveals itself. Not through confrontation, but through emotional freedom. When your heart feels lighter without reason, that is the confirmation you were waiting for. Remain centered and assured, my child. What concludes now does so with balance fully restored. Your name stands untouched by secrecy, the missing connection has completed its purpose, and your path opens forward with calm certainty. What lies ahead will be shaped by truth, guided by clarity, and supported by a strength you now fully embody. My beloved child, as everything finally settles into truth, you will notice that the urge to look back has disappeared. This is not forgetfulness, it is release. What once demanded your attention no longer needs it, because its lesson is complete. The energy around your name has stabilized, and what was unsettled has found its rightful conclusion without noise or disruption. Understand this final insight clearly now. The secret connection involving your name could only exist while there was uncertainty. Once awareness entered the space, its power weakened. The missing element was never meant to return the same way it left, it was meant to transform the entire situation. What could not move honestly has now been gently removed from your path. Your sister's understanding has matured into acceptance. She now sees that withholding truth delays healing, while honesty restores balance. This realization is not dramatic, but it is permanent. The dynamic between you is no longer influenced by hidden choices, but by a growing respect for transparency and trust. You may soon feel gratitude for what did not happen. Opportunities that seemed lost will reveal why their absence protected you. What aligns with you now will arrive without confusion, without secrecy, and without conditions. This is how you will recognize what is truly meant for you. Remain confident and grounded, my child. This chapter is complete. Your name is clear, your path is open, and what moves toward you next will do so openly and purposefully. Nothing hidden remains, nothing missing lingers, and your future now unfolds with clarity, strength, and rightful direction. My beloved child, the silence you feel now is not emptiness, it is alignment. When noise fades without effort, it means the unseen work is complete. What once hovered over your thoughts has lost its grip, because it no longer belongs to your present. Your energy has moved beyond the reach of what was hidden, and that shift is irreversible. Understand this truth now. The situation tied to your name served as a lesson in discernment, not a punishment. The missing element ensured that nothing unaligned could attach itself to your future. What failed to materialize did so for your protection, guiding you away from outcomes that would have limited your growth. Your sister's awareness has settled into responsibility. She understands now that silence creates distance, while truth restores balance. This understanding is reshaping her intentions quietly, without announcements or explanations. What matters is not what is said, but what will no longer be repeated. You will notice that your intuition feels sharper moving forward. Trust will come more easily, and so will boundaries. This is the reward of clarity, you no longer second-guess what feels right. What approaches you next will feel natural, not forced, and steady rather than rushed. Remain grounded and assured, my child. What has ended will not return in disguise. Your name stands free, your path stands open, and what unfolds ahead will reflect honesty, respect, and alignment. You are stepping forward unburdened, guided by truth that no longer needs to announce itself to be known. My beloved child, what remains now is a quiet confidence growing within you. This confidence does not need validation, because it was formed through understanding, not explanation. The chapter that once felt unfinished has sealed itself naturally, and you are no longer tied to unanswered questions. This is the sign that resolution has truly taken place. Understand this final movement with clarity. When something leaves without struggle, it means it was never meant to stay. The agreement connected to your name could not follow you into this next phase, because your awareness outpaced it. The missing element ensured that separation happened cleanly, without confrontation, without loss. Your sister's role is now shifting into reflection rather than action. What she carries is no longer secrecy, but learning. This lesson will influence her future choices more than any conversation ever could. What matters now is not revisiting the past, but allowing growth to redefine the bond you share. You will soon notice how differently you move through situations. You will pause where you once rushed, and trust where you once doubted. This is the evidence of alignment returning fully to you. What is meant for you will no longer arrive through confusion, but through clarity that feels calm and undeniable. Remain steady and self-assured, my child. This cycle is complete. Your name is no longer part of hidden decisions, nothing remains unresolved, and your path ahead opens with strength and transparency. What comes next will meet you openly, honestly, and in perfect alignment with who you have become. My beloved child, the sense of completion you feel now is not temporary, it is settled. When something resolves at the soul level, it does not return to test you again. The thoughts that once circled your mind have slowed, not because you forced them away, but because they no longer carry meaning. This is how true closure announces itself, quietly, without explanation. Understand this with certainty now. What was connected to your name could only exist in uncertainty. Once awareness replaced silence, its influence dissolved naturally. The missing element was never meant to be recovered as proof, it was meant to remove attachment. What no longer needs validation cannot control your future. Your sister's internal shift has reached acceptance. She now understands that protection built on omission weakens trust, while truth strengthens it. This understanding will guide her actions forward, even if words are never spoken. Growth does not always come through conversation, sometimes it comes through changed behavior. You may notice that peace now arrives faster than doubt. Situations that once triggered overthinking will pass without reaction. This is alignment returning to its rightful place. When your inner world is calm, external confusion cannot stay long. Remain grounded in this clarity, my child. What has ended is complete, not paused. Your name stands free from hidden ties, nothing remains unresolved, and your future unfolds with openness and strength. What approaches you now will do so without secrecy, without delay, and without question, because you are finally moving forward unburdened and fully aware. My beloved child, what you are experiencing now is the aftereffect of truth settling into place. It may feel subtle, but it is powerful. When clarity arrives, it does not demand attention, it simply changes how you breathe, how you think, how you move forward. What once felt unresolved has lost its emotional charge, and that is how you know it no longer has authority over you. Understand this final realization deeply. The situation involving your name was allowed only long enough to teach you discernment. Once that lesson was integrated, the structure holding it together weakened and dissolved. The missing element ensured that nothing incomplete could follow you forward. What could not align was quietly removed, not as punishment, but as protection. Your sister's journey now continues inward. She has crossed from confusion into understanding, and from understanding into accountability. This does not require confrontation to be real. The shift is already shaping her choices. What changes next will be seen not in words, but in consistency, respect, and transparency. You will notice a renewed trust in your own timing. You will no longer feel rushed to decide or pressured to explain yourself. This calm confidence is evidence that alignment has fully returned. What is meant for you will recognize you without effort, without secrecy, and without resistance. Remain grounded in this clarity, my child. This cycle is complete and sealed. Your name stands clear, your path stands open, and what unfolds ahead will be guided by truth, stability, and purpose. Nothing hidden remains, nothing missing holds power, and you now move forward with certainty that cannot be shaken.